Hello, my name is Jess Marie. Welcome to yesterday's coffee grounds, where unfortunately this plant is dying. It dropped and it used to be in a south facing window. Now it's in a west facing window and the window is way back there. So I'm so sorry. I love my plants, but they're all from a south facing window, and now we're going into fall and they're just not happy because we moved and a lot of them are not doing well. There was also a huge spider mite problem when we moved into this house and all the plants got infested. I didn't realize right away because we're moving, there's things everywhere. I just thought they were unhappy from going to south to west facing, and yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. My makeup is still like partially on under my eyes and I feel just a little bit sunken, but that is okay. That's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, I had this beautiful experience the other night. So I was working and I felt really called to listen to Mel Robbins. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's the 1-2-3 gal, and just like do things on the count of 1-2-3. She is a public speaker. She's written a couple of books. She has a podcast, and I ended up checking out her podcast, and I'm scrolling a little bit and I ended up clicking one, and it was with Kim Russo. And Kim is somebody, she grew up in the Catholic Church and she has that strong tie with religion. And I think it's her mom went into baptism, like a Baptist church after, where it's more about the gospels and more of that base. So she has that root foundation, and she loves learning and she loves knowing the science behind things. So I really trusted her when she was talking about she's a medium, so she has this ability to communicate with people and spirits who have passed on. And I really trust her because that's something that I feel like I've been guided to this. And what is that? That better not be a spider. Okay, it's just little. It's okay. Oh, it's a fly. Okay. I feel really guided to her because I have kind of gone through my own confusion, because I went through this whole point in my life when I was 19 years old and I discovered magic mushrooms, and I went through this whole psychedelic awakening and this social awareness, or this personal awareness of myself, of my being, of space and time, how things are not just evolutionary based. I can't find purpose in my life. Coming from a fish, I don't believe that. I don't find purpose or meaning or value into my life from that reasoning. I do believe in creation theory because to me that makes sense. And based on everything else that I believe in my life, it would not make sense to believe in evolution. I'm also somebody, I've taken two college courses in anthropology. I've done ample studying based around that, and that's just my own personal belief. And I kind of delve into Christianity. So I had this whole psychedelic awakening and I was working a lot with what people call manifestation, and basically having ideas, desires about stuff, putting that into the universe, and not being attached to the outcome of that. Things would start happening for me, and I had a lot of good communication with the earth. I'd go out for walks and I'd be thinking about something. I'm like, I need just a confirmation of this. Like, can you please show me an eagle? And there would be an eagle. Or I'd be puttering through things in my mind, and then I would see a heron, and it's like when the heron hunts, when it goes fishing, it takes its time. Every single movement of the foot out of the water and the beak slowly, it's all slow and just very thoughtful, very in the moment, doesn't matter about anything else. It doesn't matter about where it's going to sleep that night, or where it's going to get its next meal, or if it's going to mate this season. It doesn't worry about any of that. It worries about, in that moment, how am I going to catch this fish or this frog, whatever it may be, right? And this happened to me over and over and over again. And then I found myself, mostly during my pregnancy, I got really into understanding Christianity a bit more. Sorry, low power mode, of course. I found myself delving into Christianity a little bit more and trying to find connection through a Bible and trying to connect to that, and And I actually, through my pregnancy, developed a really close relationship with Jesus, and I do believe him, and I do have that relationship with him. But I still didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel that purpose or that value that I found before. And after I was on mushrooms for quite some time, and I had a buddy tell me, Jess, don't overdo it on mushrooms, and I overdid it. I had stimulation overload. It was a complete reprogramming of my brain. I went through a lot of emotional release, crying. I was crying every day for a long time, just having a lot of emotional release. I didn't know how to process it. And now I wish if I had the tool, this singular tip that I'm going to talk about today, if I had this knowledge then, it would have made a lot more, it would have made that work that I did then a lot more graceful. And I was listening to Kim Russo, Russo, and she was talking about forgiveness and raising the vibration of the heart chakra, because we have 7 chakras in our body, and the heart chakra is the strongest. The communication through the heart and opening the heart to love is the strongest. And one of the ways we can raise the vibration of our heart chakra is through forgiveness. And I listened to this podcast, I heard it out, and I thought, I'm gonna go home, and that's what I did before I went to bed. And I'm sitting there with one hand on my uterus and one hand on my heart, because that's how when I connect, that's what I do, because I've gone through miscarriage, and I just feel this. I have empty womb syndrome. I don't want to talk about it right now, but one hand on my uterus, my womb, and one hand on my heart, and I started forgiving somebody that is within our family dynamic, and I've held a lot of resentment, a lot of anger against. And as soon as I started forgiving, there was this tune in my ear, and it was almost like a gong sound. And when a gong starts to warble, the vibrations kind of go boom. And it was like that, so loud in my ears. And I was forgiving, and I was accepting that not what happened was right, because a lot of trauma happened through this person, but forgiving them, because they're running off of what Kim was saying was a faulty program. It's not their fault that the programming that they received is faulty, and forgiving that. Not saying that it was right, not saying that there doesn't need to be boundaries, but forgiving what had happened. And I was like, well, maybe I'm just hearing this noise in my head, this frequency. So then I would stop, try to focus on the only sound at that time of night was the fish tank, the monitor, and then the bubbles going through. So I'm trying to focus on that. My ears would switch out, and then I would come back to forgiveness, and this frequency would come in to my head again. And it was amazing, the feeling that I got forgiving. And then I also forgave my parents for things that had happened. And now, so that was on Tuesday, and today is Saturday night. I just was laying with my son as he's falling asleep, and I'm praying to him and thanking him for who he is as a human, giving affirmations. And I hear him snoring. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna practice forgiveness again. And I started forgiving a really traumatic relationship that I had, and it was my last relationship before the one that I'm in now. And just forgiving that situation, and not only forgiving the actions that were done on his side, but the actions that were caused on my side, and forgiving myself for my part in all that, and forgiving myself for, I had a complete breakdown. I locked myself in a closet, and that sounds awful, but I locked myself in a closet, just started crying because I needed to be separate. I needed to be in a confined space to feel this energy, because they were such big emotions at the time. I couldn't breathe. I needed to be confined, and that was the best thing I could do. And I had a walk-in closet, so it wasn't luxurious or anything like that. I lived in an off suite. It had no bathroom. It was unfinished. It was basically just a big room with a walk-in closet. And I put myself in there and I just cried and cried and cried and cried. And I was on the phone with somebody on mute, and just, he was coaching me through it. And I forgave myself for that, because it's something that I think of every now and then, where it's like, that was such a point of weakness. Why did I have to do that? Why did all these things that comes up in my mind every now and again? We all have those things where it's like, why did I do that thing? And then I had to, as I'm sitting there forgiving myself, I'm like, no, through that was a rebirth. That was a rebirth of a beautiful human. And that following year, I had the best year of my life. And still to this day, I say 2018 was the best year that I ever had. And I'm just like so blessed for that year. That was the year that I discovered magic mushrooms. I waited my whole life to do drugs. I was 19 years old. Was I 19? No, I must have been older. I had to have been older. The math I don't think is right. Maybe I was 20. I could have been 20. But yeah, I discovered magic mushrooms. I had a blast. I started drywalling. I was a drywaller for a little bit. I cut my hair. I was short blonde, and I just had a blast that year, because I let go of a lot of things through that traumatic experience. I let go of a lot of things. I graduated school that year. I graduated college that year, and it was just a blessing. I ended up making a couple big moves, and that's kind of what led me to where I am today. So I think forgiveness for me right now is a really important part of getting to where I want to be. I don't know what I'm training for. I don't know what I'm working towards, but I know I'm working for something great, and I see it in my writing. I see signs. I keep drawing the King of Hearts when I shuffle the deck. I just sit here and I just shuffle the deck. I bet if I tried to do it on camera, it wouldn't work, because I just do it on chance. We'll see. We'll see. We'll try. We'll see. No. So, no, I wasn't even close. I think I got nervous. I was trying to prove that I could pull the King of Hearts, but I could not. I'm not that powerful, but I keep drawing it, and I know that's a powerful sign. I just feel a lot of confidence in the King of Hearts right now. I don't believe in tarot. I believe that people can read stuff in tarot. Oh my gosh, I just literally dropped it. I dropped 2 cards. And you know what they are? That's amazing. I'm telling you. So, there's something coming, and I think if I keep practicing forgiveness for the next little while, and it is a practice. I do believe that it is a practice. It is something that we need to work on, because one, we don't always know how to practice that forgiveness and practice apologies. It's something that we have to learn over time, and we have to receive to know what it feels like to get a good apology, what it feels like to get a poor apology, and also to accept an apology, and to forgive and open that heart to love and compassion and understanding. We're all working on ourselves. We all make mistakes. It doesn't always mean that what happened is right, but just to allow the heart to let go of that. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Not to tell you what to do, but I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world, or night. It's nighttime, obviously, for me. I'm gonna go wash my face a little bit more, try to get any of this makeup residue off, and off we go. So, good night. Bye.